The first event that we were called to cover was the Burning Man festival. And that was tough because Burning Man is not too keen on filming. It's supposed to be a non-commercialized, escape from reality. I mean, they have a gift economy set up. It's based upon like mutual participation and non-exploitation. And so the idea of making a Burning Man video was tough at first because burners oftentimes, and this is not all of them, but are pretty well off in general. A lot of them have tech jobs, are pretty high up in Silicon Valley, and Burning Man is where they go to take off, to take the edge off and basically become their burner persona. On the playa, they become reborn, and they take ketamine and they wear kaleidoscope glasses and steampunk hats, and they, snort MDMA and they run around the sand, listen to.
Do you snort MDMA? That's one I need to do.
Yes,
MDMA.
you can. Yeah,
I thought it's a pill. I didn't know.
It's better to take it in a pill or water, but you can snort MDMA.
I definitely need to take MDMA. I'm already full of love, but like that, I'd probably go on another level.
Yeah, don't snort it because it'll only last for you like 90 minutes.
Let me write that down.
Yeah. So anyways, we didn't know what to do because we'd try to film.
Don't snort.
The initial idea for All Gas, No Brakes was to, instead of asking people, what's your deepest, darkest secret, it was, what's the craziest trip you've been on? So the idea was to not satirize drunk people, but satirize people who are fried on acid.
Oh.
And so we went to Boulder real quick, did a test interview with some lady who talked about seeing ancestral aliens during a peyote retreat. And so it's pretty easy to extract trip reports from hippies and, gutter punks and stuff like that, or oogles. So we go to Burning Man. We start asking people like, what's your craziest trip story? And they didn't have the same type of free-flowing storytelling style that like a on-the-street crust punk in New Orleans might have, where they're like, I don't give a fuck, I'll tell you whatever. These people were very bottled up about what they were willing to disclose. So we went on Burning Man Radio and we did a broadcast and we said, hey, we're psychedelic journalists. It was me and my friend CL at the time. I said, we're psychedelic journalists. We're parked on 10 and I, which is a cross street in Black Rock City. And we said, we have a 1998 Catalina Coachman Sport. It's an RV. We've set up a podcast studio. We're doing a show about psychedelic voyages.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, 2 hours later, we had 10 people lined up at the RV.
Nice.
Willing to talk. So that vetted people in advance for us. And so we did a couple interviews, and that was that.
Well, what were some of the stories from the trip reports?
There was this lady named Rasma who said that she was known in several circles in Berkeley for being multi-orgasmic and could create multiple repeated climaxes using only her mind by like squinting her eyes and squeezing her eyes together so much that like the pleasure spiral just, went crazy.
I feel like I talked to several people like that at Berkeley.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Not that, well, yeah, that lady. I think she manifests herself in many forms. Yeah.
Right. So, but still, it was on the cruder end. There was one guy named Kimbo Slice was his burner name. He talked about taking a shit after taking like a quarter of mushrooms and how he was like seeing his childhood and visualizing his past life, as the turds were flowing into the toilet, and just talks about the psychedelic union between pooing and taking shrooms.
So he was very visual with his words.
Yeah, so there was stuff like that. I interviewed Alex Gray, which was super cool, about his first trip in San Francisco when he was in 1971, shortly after the Summer of Love. I got to do some pretty cool interviews, but still it was semi-ambush style. I wouldn't say that we were doing journalism yet. It was still comedic video work,
Was there a narrative that tied it together? It's like really just a trip, comedic almost with the
interview, and then I go Burning Man, and then it's on to the next one. So I guess that could give a loose structure, but it's just like a punchy and slapstick thing. Everything was going good until we interviewed this guy named DJ Soft Baby. He was wearing a golden leotard with, once again, kaleidoscope glasses, shirtless, dancing, and he was eating chowder out of a plastic bowl. And he was like, this chowder's so fucking good. He's like, this is the best chowder I've ever had in my life. And he starts putting the chowder on his face. And he's like, I want the chowder all over me. Yeah. And so we just go, hey, man, can you just do a dance for us real quick, just for some B-roll? He does a dance. We post it on Instagram the next morning. Doing Things Media CEO calls me, Reed. He says, all of our pages are down. And he's like, that guy you filmed dancing last night on drugs, putting chowder on his face? That guy's at the top of MIT.
Top of MIT. I don't understand what that means.
Went to
That's like saying, my brother's a rocket scientist. He's like head of NASA or whatever.
Well, I mean, the guy knows people in Boston.
Okay.
Not in the Whitey Bulger sense, but in the reverse sense.
I have trouble believing that DJ Soft Baby.
Oh, DJ Soft Baby was major. It could have been Harvard. It could have been, but it wasn't. It wasn't UMass.
Listen, I don't think there's anybody that's at the head of MIT who's putting what was it all over his face?
Chowder. Well, then you haven't been to Burning Man yet.
Okay, I've not been to Burning Man.
So,
but I would have to consult my colleagues at MIT if they know DJ Soft Baby.
So whoever
he probably was Harvard. Let's put it on them.
Okay, the top of Harvard. So he made some calls, to the tops, to the heads of big tech.
Yeah,
got all the Doing Things Media pages taken down. At the time, that was like a vast network of pages, and we ended up having to take obviously the video came down. And he held the entire network of Instagram pages hostage. And so that was he made us agree to never post that video again, and then somehow got all of our pages reinstated. So that was my first brush with powerful people on drugs, and that was probably my last brush with powerful people on drugs.